I love doing that. So fun.
Hey, Annette, hey, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
It's so good to see you. The last
You
time
too.
I saw you was when I did your podcast, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
that's right. That's right.
So I want to introduce you to all my followers. I know that a lot of them already know you, probably, but for those of you who don't, Annette is a combat veteran, retired Army officer, and she's the founder of the company A Wild Ride, which is an awesome company. And I've got to let her tell you about it because I will totally mess it up. So, Annette, tell them, give them some more information about yourself, some background about yourself, and your business.
So I served over 17 years in the Army, 17 years, 4 months.
Wow.
And
Oh, I
I
forgot to say, you are also a military spouse and a mother,
I
right?
sure am. Yes, I am. I'm a military spouse of almost 22 years. Oh my
Wow.
gosh. And then I have my daughter will be 20 years old on the 24th of this month. And then I have a 17-year-old son.
Oh my goodness.
So, yeah, my daughter goes to college in Texas and we're here in Virginia. So,
Right.
it's just so far away. But, a wild ride called life it wasn't, I had no idea what it was going to turn out to be because really it was my own way of talking about how I was feeling, what I was going through with the depression and anxiety. And I needed an outlet to figure out what the heck was going on with me and to figure out that I wasn't alone. And
Yeah.
so what started out to be something on WordPress ended up being a website on through Wix that I just, I had another veteran friend help me launch it. And from then on, it was terrifying because all those feelings that I was hiding inside was now, it was
Out
like,
there for the world to see.
yeah. So it was like, go big or go home. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
um, and so,
So
I was just,
basically, what would have been traditionally your diary is all of a sudden out there.
it is, but I just felt like I lived so long hiding everything from when I was a kid through the military and then afterwards that when you suppress all those feelings for so long, you're just going to explode. And
That's
that's what
right.
happened to me. I
Mhm.
exploded and I got into this really deep funk, depression that if I didn't find a way to spill it, then I don't know how I would have made it through. Now, not everybody needs to do what I did and go and
Yeah.
be dramatic. I was dramatic and I was like, this is it. But I figured after talking to a few of my former soldiers and realizing that, they had a difficult transition as well, I said, well, you know what? I'm going to use this as a platform for my own self-healing journey, but for others too, to show them that, I am going through this. It sucks, but I can make it and so can you. So it was like a twofold. I was trying to help myself while helping other people.
And at that point, though, you were still just writing, correct?
Yes. Yes.
You weren't planning to turn it into a business.
No,
Okay. So
not at
you
all. It
were
was,
writing, and then I'm assuming you start building up a following, and people are really benefiting from it.
yeah, and that's the thing that happened is I started getting messages from strangers on my website and through Instagram and Facebook of people saying, "Gosh, thank you for being so vulnerable." And I really cried the first time I saw one of those
Yeah.
because you don't realize who's reading or watching or listening to your post. You're kind of just making the post as your own thing, but you don't know who you affected just
Yeah.
now with what you just said. So I think after I started surrounding myself with like-minded people, I started to get the nerve to actually speak about it, like get on other people's podcasts and be a speaker. And it was just like, am I
So
ready to do?
when you started being a guest and started speaking, were you still wasn't a business yet?
No,
This is
no.
just your personal journey
Yeah.
in
It,
helping
it,
other people. Okay.
yeah, it really was. And then I just, one day I don't know if you guys know Brandon Cox. He's actually my CPA now, but he's a veteran. He helped me figure out, do I want to be an LLC or not? So then I made that step. And then I got with Andy Nelson, another veteran. He's my trademark lawyer. And then I went through that step. It was just like I slowly started building and said, you know what? I want to make this into something bigger than just me being a blogger. I'm
Yeah.
now, and so it just developed over time. And it was just, I think what helped me the most was having people who believed in me and
Yeah.
who told me that you have a lot to offer. You have a story to tell. And that gave me a little bit more confidence to say, you know what? I can do this.
And you did it the right way. Organically, it grew and it was its own thing. Whereas a lot of people are just like, I want to be a blogger and I want to create like a big blog and I want to make money off of it, but they don't have a why.
Right.
That it's like Chris said last week, before you do your podcast, you have to know why. And regardless of what it is, there has to be a strong why, but yours, because it happened organically and not because you just wanted to be a blogger and make money, it took off without you hardly even realizing it. So that, I think that's a good lesson for people out there who are thinking they want to do something like that, to first reach inside and see why they want to do it.
Yes, absolutely. Everybody has their reasons on why they want to do something, but I think that's what helped me the most. It was the organic way of doing it. And when I talk to people about wanting to be an entrepreneur or whatever, I say it was an accident for me, but I had to really dig deep and figure out what was my why. And is it really my passion? Because if you do it just for the money and you don't love it, you won't
Right.
give it your best each day.
Yeah.
And so
I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just saying, every day, even though it's an off day or a good day, I still love what I do, regardless of what kind of day it is. I know that there's somebody out there that I could talk to that will benefit. And so I think that's what makes it different. You have to have that passion.
And you probably, maybe not, but I would think if I were you, probably at the beginning would have thought, do I really want to do this? Am I going to get like depressed or tired or whatever of talking about this all the time? Is it going to pull me back rather than pull me forward? So that was a thought that you had?
Yes, absolutely. My husband even would talk to me and say, I understand why you're doing it, but you have to be careful, because are you going to fall back into where you were at before? Because you're going to start bringing up all these feelings and you're going to start talking about all these things that you never talked about before. So just be careful. And I used to get like irritated with him, but he was right. He was right.
He was saying that out of love, but no, I know.
Right.
Tell me what to do.
That's so me.
Yeah, and because you're empathetic,
Yeah.
talking with people, are you going to start pulling that inside too? So I'm sure that was part of his concern as well.
Oh yeah. And and then my family, how much am I going to talk about them? Because my kids saw a lot of what I went through. So how much am I going to, how much am I going to say? How much am I going to reveal? And is it okay with them? When they were younger, we didn't think it mattered, but they're teenagers now and they see it. So I have to also be cognizant of their feelings too. So it's just, it's a whirlwind.
So after you started the LLC and you decided this is going to be a business, how did it evolve after that? Because I know it's way more than the blog now.
Yeah, it is. And I still can't believe it sometimes. I think, like I mentioned before, the people who I have surrounded myself right now, like Chris and Wade, who is one of my sponsors, they believed in my mission. And
what is their company? I'm sorry, Wade's company?
Wade Saxon is the founder of Smoke and Bacon.
Oh, okay.
He's amazing. He's one of my biggest cheerleaders, and so is Chris McPhee. So having those types of people in my corner pushing me and encouraging me and saying you're awesome and you're doing great, that's what they don't even realize what they do for me. Like it really is. And so that's what keeps me going, is having people who believe in my mission and telling me that it's not just this or it's not just that. There's more to it. And I think that's why it has gotten to where it is right now with the speaking and the writing and, doing this huge project with Chris that you guys it's going to blow your mind. Just all these things.
I don't know what it is, but you haven't announced it yet, right?
Yeah, no, but we will soon. It's gonna come soon, but it's.
I'm not supposed to know. So when you're speaking, do you usually speak at conferences, or I know not now? I know everything's virtual, but before the world blew up,
I'm
you
sorry.
No, that's okay. So you were going to conferences and speaking.
Yes, ma'am. So last year I did my first one. I went to Arizona to do a mental health summit, and it was amazing. Like I just got this complete high. Like it's funny because when I was in the Army, getting up and speaking in front of people terrified me to where I was sweating and shaking. But to go here and speak in front of people about something so personal, I don't know, it was just exhilarating because it's people who really wanted to know how to deal with whatever.
Yeah.
And then from there, yes, because of the pandemic, it's virtual summits and keynote speaking events. And I did a TEDx 2 weeks ago. It's like, what is going on?
Awesome.
So,
tell your truth, sister. So that mental health conference that you were at, was that mental health professionals, or was that for people like me who might just want to go to something for like self-help?
A mix. It was a mix. There was people who actually had nonprofits like Exhale. It's a suicide. PTSD recovery centers in Arizona. So it was actually people who were in the profession. And so it was amazing.
That's cool. And that was in Arizona?
It was in Arizona.
Yeah, I did a conference out there several years ago where I spoke at a National Economic Developers Conference.
That's so cool.
And, I don't mind being up in front and like talking in front of hundreds of people. I personally would rather talk in front of a whole bunch of people than stand up in front of 2 people. I don't know why.
I know, isn't that weird?
Yeah. But okay, so the writing grew into speaking and your podcast. And so tell us how they can find your podcast.
So the podcast is that was an accident too. It's called The Truths We Hide. And just one day last October, I said, I'm going to do a podcast and I'm going to start tomorrow.
Oh my God.
So I'm crazy like that. So I started it, and then at first it was veteran based. Like I just thought maybe just the veterans would be interested because I'm a vet. But
getting their stories out.
Yeah. But then I started to, I guess just the communities I was in, I had more people that were everyday people off the street reaching out saying, well, I don't know if I would fit your podcast, but I'm not a veteran, but I still have this story to tell. I was like, you know what? Yes, let's do it. Let's open it up because I want people to know that it's not just military that deal with these things, that it's anybody.
Yeah, people think PTSD is a military thing.
Yeah. And so
they also don't realize all the physical manifestations that can come from it. Like a friend of mine, his daughter, has PTSD. She has like double carpal tunnel syndrome and diabetes that came about as a result of that. I had no idea. We all think of it as being more psychological, and the thing about it crossing over from veterans and over to everybody, that's like with the NASCAR team, even though we say we're racing to combat veteran suicide, it's really for everybody. And we know if we can start with the veterans, anything that helps them can go out and help everybody because it helps everybody learn.
Right.
So, and everybody out there, that's how I got to know Annette, was through the NASCAR team as well.
Yes.
You're one of our veteran business advocates, and we really appreciate that. We appreciate your support and the fact that you share so much about the team and everything.
Oh my gosh, it's such an honor. Like I as soon as I heard about it and why, the mission, I was like, I need to be a part of it. This is insane. So
it's right up your alley. I have to show you what Smurf said. She is crushing it. Can you see it?
I can. He's so funny.
I know. He's great, though.
No, he is.
So you started your podcast impulsively.
Yes.
You were like, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
So how did you do it? Did you already have like a microphone and stuff, or did you call somebody like Smurf and say, I want to do this and I don't know how, and I want to do it today?
I forgot how I even got the equipment. I just ordered this off of Amazon. Somebody told me about it. I was like, okay, I'm going to just start with some less expensive stuff since I don't know what I'm going to do. And then it just evolved. And it's like, I think I have over 60 episodes already.
Wow. And when did you start it?
I'm sorry?
When did you start?
Last October.
60 since October. Wow. That's great.
It's a lot of work. Never what I imagined, but I do it for everyone else, is because they all want a platform to share their story without being judged, and so that's what keeps me going. Is like, whose story can I share to help them? And so that's why I just I love
and they know. By telling their story, it helps them. It's healing, in a way, and they know they're helping someone else.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is, after each episode, we'll discuss, okay, so what are you doing now, and where do you see yourself? Because you are still, they either have overcame it or they're still going through the process, and that's what we want people to know, is that you're not alone. It's not going to happen overnight. It may not happen in a year or two, but it will happen.
Even if people have overcome it, that doesn't mean they're never going to have to deal with it again.
Right.
It could creep up depending on what life circumstances are. And just realize this is a fact of life, just like somebody else may have diabetes or may have whatever, anything, that things can trigger it to pop back up. And to remember that you are unique, but you're not alone.
Yes.
So many other people going through it. And the more we talk about it, the more other people will feel like they can get help.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
So your podcast exploded. Tell the audience, how is your business actually making money, or bringing in revenue so that you can afford to do it?
My sponsor, Wade.
Okay.
Wade.
Again.
Wade Saxon. So him, and then I have I have a Patreon, so I have a sponsor on there as well that helps me to continue making this happen. So and so that's what I do. I try to get sponsors who can help, because
awesome.
it's really helpful. So if you don't think sponsoring somebody helps, you're wrong. It does help. Sponsors help so much more. That it's not, it's not for me to get this money to go shopping. This is money that's being used to get,
you're rolling it back into helping other people.
Exactly. And so that's what I feel is so important to tell people. It's not for me to, live off of. This is to keep it going in so many different ways, because there's so many different platforms and social media sites and equipment, and there's so much out there people don't even realize.
So as a part of that, tell people about the bracelets that you have. They are so beautiful, and they're ways that people can have an awesome piece of jewelry to wear and also help support your cause.
Yes. So myself and Greg Buddha from the Jewelry Republic,
who is also a sponsor of our NASCAR team, y'all.
Sure is.
He's a Marine veteran. So
yes, I reached out to him and I said, I want to figure out a way to collaborate. This is all the stuff in my brain that's going on. How can we put this into place? And so after months and months of talking, we came up with a stone that I wanted to represent mental health and clarity and peace, and we came up with the blue lapis stone.
It is so beautiful.
No,
I haven't seen it in person. I've only seen the photographs, but the bracelet is beautiful.
Thank you so much. He's the one who said, "Why don't we think about adding a VW bus cast?" And I was like, "How? Okay, let's just go with your idea. I trust you." So when he created those little buses and put those in the picture, I was like, "Let's do it. Let's do it."
You don't have one there with you, do you?
I do.
Oh, I'd love if you held it up and let people see.
Give me a second.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Well, and while you're gone, I will talk because I like to talk. I was going to say just the color of the stones, and without me even holding one yet, the color of the stones, and I can kind of feel the weight in my mind.
So sorry about that.
That's okay. Oh, you probably didn't hear anything I was saying. I forgot. I was just saying, even though I've only seen the photographs, I haven't held one yet. The color of the stone, and I can just, in my mind, I can feel the weight and feel how cool they are. To me, it already feels calming. I love that.
No, it is. See how cute that is? So that's a blue, and then there's the bus. And what the coolest part,
so
on top of the bus engraved is a mental health awareness ribbon with the semicolon for suicide prevention.
Oh, well, you know what? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So the semicolon after the mental health awareness ribbon stands for
suicide
prevention.
So the semicolon is to represent your story isn't over yet.
Right. That's right. Great.
Yes.
So if people buy that, they have for a donation to go where?
Yes, ma'am. So I chose two different nonprofits. One of them is called NAMI, National Alliance for Mental Illness, and the second one is Association. Oh my gosh! It's for suicide prevention. I couldn't think.
That's okay.
American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Yes.
And then when they check out, they get to select which one.
Yes, they can tell me which one they want, and I will donate it to that cause.
You have a message. You have a message from Erica. Oh. You are awesome.
Oh, Erica's my friend from high school.
Oh, that's so cool. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Simi Valley, California, but we attended a all-girl Catholic high school in Thousand Oaks, California, called Lorena High School.
Neat. That's so cool that y'all are still friends. There's
yes.
people that know nobody from their childhood.
I know. It's
nice.
Facebook can be wonderful at times, and that's how we've stayed connected.
That's great. Well, I want to ask you, with the pandemic and the shutdown, have you noticed any difference in your audience or in the people who reach out to you or the types of questions that you get?
Some of the questions that I get, the first one is I've had actually a larger response to wanting to be on the podcast or have a Zoom call through this pandemic. I think people just need to be face to face or just talk about their story. And the other question is, how do I manage? And so, I've already was at home anyway, so I'm not really stuck at home. But what I had to realize was that my son is stuck at home. And so I have to make time for him. I can't just sit here for 8 hours. I have to remember that I have a kid in the house and I need to go spend time with him. So there are days like today where I checked email a couple times. I think I did one other call and then with you, but I didn't do anything else today because today needed to be with him.
So that's something good for people to learn from. So how do you self-discipline? How do you discipline yourself to make sure that you do that? Because I have an office which happens to be next door to my house. That's a really long commute. It's about 100 yards. But I really have gone over there hardly none. I don't go there that much anyway, just because I don't need to be there. And it's like all my, business stuff is there that I don't want cluttering up my house. But it is a genuine bona fide office. But I haven't really been going over there. But I know from working at home I literally have worked in and out of my house since 1990. I know how hard it is to say, this is when I'm going to stop or whatever, to actually have those barriers set up. So how do you make yourself do that?
It is hard. In the beginning, I would just do whatever, whenever, every single day. And so now Mondays and Fridays are specifically for podcasts. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays are specifically for calls. But I have from 10 to 2 for just, certain things, because I'll do it all the way until 5 and realize, oh my God, I didn't make dinner.
Yeah.
So I have to do that. I had to have a schedule. I had to have a cutoff time. And that's where I love things like HubSpot, where you can put your time in there and say, okay, last appointment's at 2.
Yeah.
So I have to have stuff like that, because I'll sit there and go, okay, we'll take a call at 3 or 4, and then I won't.
Yeah.
I'll run out of time. So you have to set boundaries. And that was hard for me, because I'll just be like, okay, let's just do it.
Yeah. Well, even though this technically is work, it's part of my business. It doesn't feel like work to me. It feels more social. And the good thing about it is it forces me, well, I was going to say to put down my computer now, because I'm sitting at the computer, but it forces me to shut down all the other stuff.
Yeah.
And get more into a social groove, because I am terrible about telling my husband and my kids when they were at home, terrible about saying, oh, it's going to just take 15 more minutes. And the next thing you know, 4 hours have gone by. And everybody else is going to bed,
You are so right. You are so right. And that's the thing, is it's hard to do that, but you have to, it's almost like you have to train yourself again on remembering, okay, this is the time, this is what I got to do. And this is when I need to stop.
I'm like you with my booking system. Not only did I set just certain times that people could book appointments with me, I also set, they can't make them within X number of days, so that helps me manage myself, because I am like you. I'm more like, oh yeah, I really want to help them. Yeah, I'll do whatever, fit them in. So those tools like that do help.
It does. But, there are exceptions. Like, of course, I was going to, talk to you, but then I have guests from other countries to where they can only talk at 6 p.m. because it's 8 a.m. their time. And, I make the arrangements because, yeah, of course. But, I don't do it all the time. It's just on certain days. So yeah, we have to, we still have a life to live too, to keep our sanity. And I think just our well-being, you need to break away and take a pause. Otherwise, by Saturday, you're just going to sleep all day because you're exhausted.
That's right. Do you have any advice for people who really are struggling right now, or, especially with their business, but anybody, it doesn't have to be business. Do you have any tricks that you use, or any way that anything like that you think would be easy to communicate?
I had to learn the word grace, and never really used it before until just recently, to where I had to stop being hard on myself for not getting everything accomplished in the day that I thought I was going to. I had to realize that it's okay that, you could do it again tomorrow. But music is has been my thing since I was 13. When I first got I got my first, it was a dual cassette tape with a record player.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's always been my go-to. And so now I have I have an Alexa in the kitchen. So when I'm cooking or when I'm doing something, I always put music on. And I don't know how many of you seen Grey's Anatomy, but there was an episode in Grey's Anatomy where she would dance it out when they were depressed or having a moment. And so I really believe in that. I really believe that music can just fill your soul in a whole different way. And so music is my go-to. Writing, reaching out to somebody that you haven't talked to in a long time. I'll send a text real quick and say, hey, how's it going? And, just little things, but definitely the grace. You have to give yourself that, or.
Yeah, I think a lot of us hold ourselves to such a higher standard than others. We're forgiving of other people, and we tell them, don't be so hard on yourself. But then we turn around and we are hard on ourselves.
That's the thing, is we need to practice what we preach.
Yeah.
I'm bad at that.
Messaging, you said you sent text message. Steve Sims, my coach, one of the things that he does is send video messages, which is really
Oh
cool because people aren't expecting them, and all of a sudden they get to see your face, and
yeah.
it's a bright spot in the day. He also sent out Christmas cards in July the other week, so we all
Oh,
were, oh my God, I got a Christmas card.
see,
It might
I
be
love.
somewhere. Hold on, let me see. No, I don't know. I thought it was up here, but it isn't. I have all this stuff. You have another message
Oh,
from Digital Veterans. It says, "You're awesome, Annette. Love the bracelet. Keep up the great work."
thank
Hashtag
you.
veterans with PTSD. Hashtag 22-0.
Thank you so much for being on here. See,
Yeah.
those people are. That's just makes my heart happy.
Yeah. Well, what about for somebody who may have something personal? It might not be PTSD or depression or anything, but something personal that they feel like they may want to try to turn into some type of business in some way. Do you have any insight, like how you were able to deal with that path?
If that's your passion and you really want to do something with it, I always try to encourage people to do it. And I love to try to help them because for example, I'm a mentor on Veterati, and I have people who reach out to me and have a situation like that where they have something they want to do that they believe in, that they want to help other people with. And I will always help them whenever, in any way that I can, with promotions or talking them through it or a business plan or whatever. So, it doesn't have to be exactly what I'm doing, but I think with anything, if that's what you really want to do, then go for it. I think we're just afraid to make that step because we're afraid of failure.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I went through. Is I didn't know if anybody was going to care. Like, why am I special? And
Yeah. Who am I? Yeah.
yeah, who am I? What am I going to speak on? And everybody's going through something similar or worse. So how am I going to make a difference? But the passion behind it and the drive, I think that makes all the difference in the world.
And I think regardless of what the kind of business is, whether it's something that's based on your personal life or something, one thing that I always try to stress to people is make it your business,
Yes.
not somebody else's. Don't try to mimic and copy what somebody else is doing, because first of all, then you're like other people. You haven't differentiated, but more so because you want to build your business the way that you want to live your life. And so when you copy other people and do what they're doing, your business might not be structured in the way that you want to live your life. Like, I don't like a lot of, I don't like the 9-to-5 thing. That's why I got out of corporate life decades ago anyway. I don't like that. I'm well known to work really late at night or to 3 or 4 in the morning. I'm just one of those people. I like to go with the flow. And part of that is being a creative. But I also, I like things with a beginning and an end. Projects. I used to be an accountant, hated it because I can't stand repetitive tasks. So I think and a lot of those things, some things I didn't understand about myself until I got older. But I think you really need to try to understand not just what you're good at and what you like, but like your intrinsic personality traits, because you might not realize it, but those really do go into your business.
Yes.
So if you do not like writing, don't start a blog.
Yes.
If you don't like talking, don't start a podcast or whatever, but figure out your own thing. Or maybe even if people do like doing video, maybe they don't do like long form like this. Maybe they like picking it up and doing a 30-second or 1-minute thing.
Yeah. No, and you're right. To go back to what you were talking about before, I suffered from imposter syndrome without even knowing what it was.
Yeah.
And we get so caught up in trying to do what someone else is doing. And then I had to realize, you know what? whatever is meant for me, it'll come. I wanted to keep pushing and keep doing and going in a direction that I really wasn't meant for me, but because I liked what someone else was doing. But you know what? If it's meant to be, it'll meant to be. And I know that's so cliche, but I'm serious.
But yes,
But it's really true.
it really
So
is.
because I'm a talker, the podcast is good for me.
Yeah.
and I didn't realize it because I was, I get nervous getting on there, but it ended up turning out to be a good thing. And videos, you could do a 30-second video on Instagram TV, just a real quick story. There's just so many options.
Yeah.
We just need to talk to people and get our ideas out there. And I think that's what helps me is talking to other people, getting ideas from other people, but not doing what they're doing
Right.
it in my own way.
You definitely want to get ideas from other people.
Yeah.
What's working, what isn't working, but the details of your business, you need to put it together in a way that fits you and fits the kind of clients that you want.
Yes.
Because you want it structured so that the kind of clients who are good matches for you to work with are attracted to you, and the people who are not a good match that you would rather not work with, they're repelled.
Yeah.
But that way, you're pre-qualifying people, and it helps the right people find you. And it
Yeah.
also helps you build a life that fits the lifestyle that you want to live. I can tell you, even though I've owned this business since 1996, the most dissatisfied I ever was with it was, now it happened while I was caring for my mom with Alzheimer's, but it wasn't because I was caring for her, so it's not because I was caring for her. It's because I hired somebody and I let them have more control, which should have been good for me. But the business went in a direction that is not how I ever wanted to go. And the things that we had been known for started going away, and the business started becoming like every other agency out there, which is what I never wanted at all. And I know that even if I'd hired somebody, if I hadn't been in the situation of being a caregiver, I would have been more on top of it. But that's something that you have to stay on top of the whole time that you own a business. You want to adapt and evolve because things are always changing, but you need to stay true to yourself and what you want out of life. For me, it's very important that I can work from anywhere. So I never want to have the kind of client that I have to be in town to sit down in front of them. That's just a minor example for me.
No, absolutely. And I think you want to be authentic. You want to be your authentic self. You don't want to portray somebody that you're really not just because of a certain business or just because of a certain client. And I think, if you think about what are you looking for in someone, do you want them to be fake or you want them to be real? And so I think that's so important.
Yeah, if you can't be yourself and attract those clients, you're going to be miserable working with them. It doesn't matter how much money you're going to make. You'll be miserable. You really do need to seek out clients that you can be yourself with, regardless of what field you're in. And you know what? There's somebody out there for everybody.
Yeah.
So all you have to do is look at different places in the world that people live, or different kinds of music or whatever, and realize no matter what it is, there's somebody that's attracted to it. And you just need to find those people.
Yeah. Who do you want to attract? Who do you want to help? Because in the beginning, the money might look good, but in the end, you're going to be drained.
Yeah. So before we go, I want you to give everybody how to find you, your podcast, your website, and to be able to get the bracelets. But first I want to ask, is there any parting piece of wisdom or anything that you want to make sure they take with them as far as to remember?
I live by two mantras that I discovered a couple years ago now, and I resonated with it so much. And the first one is, it's okay to not be okay. It absolutely is. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to reach out. If you want a therapist, get one. Who cares if people judge you? It's for you, not for them.
Right.
And the second one is, your mess is your message. And that is something that it just fuels me, because that's what it is. It's anything that you have gone through. Yes, it's okay to be sad about it and be angry, but then how are you going to turn it around and make it into a message that can be positive and help somebody else? And so that's what I try to teach my own kids is that. And so yes, those are the two things that I really believe in.
So your message is basically kind of like, how are you learning from your mess and how can you use it to help yourself and or help others?
Yes.
I like that. I haven't heard that before. I've heard the other one before, which I love, because we all think it's not okay to be okay, but I've not heard that one before. So I need to remember that.
Yes.
I
love
thought
it.
you were going to say, like, if you're one of these people who's messy, that means you have ADD or something. Oh, here, let's see. Digital veterans. They say compile your podcast videos into a season series and or episodes on Facebook Creative Studios. A pretty awesome tool most people overlook when publishing videos on Facebook pages.
Oh my gosh. You're going to have to, we should talk offline about that because that sounds like something I should do. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, like for like these, I created I can't even talk. Adaptable entrepreneurs within my video section of Facebook, my Facebook page. I created a place for these videos so that it's easier for them to find. And there are all kinds of things within in Facebook Creative Studio. But yeah, that's a very good point. I'm glad they brought that up.
That's great. Yeah.
So tell us again how to find the podcast, the name of it, how to find it, what your website is, and how everybody can get that awesome bracelet.
So the website is awildridecalledlife.com. You can also find the podcast on there, but the podcast is called The Truths We Hide, and it actually can be found on any podcast platform. But if you want to go directly to the website, you can also download the episodes from there. And the bracelet, I will have to share a link because actually Wade Saxon of Smoke and Bacon, he is hosting that link through his site to do that. So I can share that link out as well.
Yeah, we'll add it to the video, to the comments in the video, and that way people can get it. Show it again, though.
Okay.
And it's $60, is that right?
Yes, ma'am. And 5% will go to either one of those profits that I had mentioned before. Here it is.
I love the little VW bus.
I know.
And as a reminder, it's designed and manufactured, crafted by the Jewelry Republic, which is a Marine veteran-owned business and one of the sponsors of our NASCAR team that is racing to combat veteran suicide. Number 26 Xfinity Series. Colin Garrett is the driver, so I got to plug that.
That's Annette, so awesome.
Thank you so much for being on here with me. I really appreciate you sharing what you've been through and all of your tips. And anybody out there, if you weren't able to watch live or if you didn't get a question in that you want, feel free to add it in the comments and we can get it to Annette. We'll make sure that she sees it and gets an answer to you.
Thank you so much. I loved being on here and I adore you. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Annette. And thanks everybody for joining us. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.